nambari 719 ili upate usaidizi. Mtu yeyote anaishi na maradhi sugu kama vile virusi vya HIV, kifua kikuu, saratani na mengineo anashauriwa kutumia dawa zake jinsi alivyoshauriwa na daktari bila kukosa. Komesha korona. Ujumbe huu umeletwa kwako na serikali ya Kenya.
We've made progress, but not enough to move us to the last mile. So our partners represented here today, we want to say thank you for joining this fight, but also to say don't abandon us at the last mile. Because during the last mile, we need a push. We need to go at it with everything that we have. We are signing up to new targets. Targets are so ambitious that we hope that indeed, as the world has said, that in the next 5 years, we shall be able to ensure that everyone who requires an HIV diagnosis to be put on treatment, access that tests, and is put on treatment, they are virus suppressed, and they are able to live a dignified life.
It is our #1 priority to protect children against life-threatening diseases like measles, rubella, tetanus, and other preventable diseases. Following a measles-rubella risk assessment by the Ministry of Health in collaboration with WHO, 22 counties were found to be at a high risk of measles and rubella disease transmission. The campaign will start on the 26th June to 5th July 2021 in all health centers and selected immunization posts.
Ensure your children and those around you aged 9 months to 59 months do not miss out. Vaccinate to protect. This message has been brought to you courtesy of the Ministry of Health in conjunction with UNICEF.
Do you know what clubfoot is? The causes, the treatment, and prevention? Tune in to your health segment on Prime Edition this Tuesday with Purity Museo as we give you the answers. Our guest is Isaac Mutua, a councillor at the Clubfoot Care of Kenya.
Señorita, unachizisha bazenga, señorita, fuga yako ya nikoroga, señorita.
Top Mashariki, yani ndio imesha take over.
Sokio za nambongo ibeleko, eso maesengonte, sokio kufile lo mbongo nyoso.
Alafu kwenye video una vituko mwanangu wewe, waje lakini
kama gani?
Tena na ahidi nyumbani tarudi mapema.
Lazima ukuwe na ile kumbukumbu, umetokea wapi, nani kakushika mkono. So hata ukivimba uwezi vimbia mzazi.
As a righteous Lord and Master stretches out a helping hand, the sins of the Father are visited from all.
I know there's certain things I usually explore, like having success and never worrying about paper. Choose Rastafari. You're serving the Lord, your Creator.
On the season premiere of Africa's hottest new show, Surura, we take you on a safari in Kenya's capital, Nairobi. Get your adrenaline pumping and revving to go, and if that's not enough, we take you on a tour of what could possibly be the most photographed home in Africa. It's simply inspiring. That's all coming right up on Surura. Find your adventure, only on KBC.
Your Honor, I have an important piece of evidence. It's a legal document, a DNA report.
it proves that I'm the biological father of Xiatian.
Didn't you deny from the very beginning that Xiatian was your son?
Well, I didn't deny it, you know. If a kid appeared out of the blue, a strange kid calling you dad, how would you respond?
I understand.
Sorry, Hugo. I gave Taylor too much information about you. If I had known he'd use it to build a case against you.
You're in time for KBC Prime Edition this Tuesday, the 29th of June 2021. Good evening. My name is Mboya and a warm welcome.
And my name is Purity Museo. We have a comprehensive coverage of all the day's events that have been taking center stage here in Kenya and around the world, including business news.
Yes, and in business, we'll be telling you about more than 250,000 workers who have lost their jobs in the entertainment industry. I'll be bringing you more later on the business segment. My name is Caroline Jenger.
That's right. We'll also be getting an update in the world of sports.
Yeah, well, the FKF Premier League has named Coach of the Month for the month of May. I'm Richard Munga, and as always, I'll be bringing you more details in regards to that story as well as other sports updates later on. See you then.
Thank you, Munga. And live in studio, we have Isaac Mutua, who is the country club foot coordinator. And of course, we tell you how and why early diagnosis of club foot, which is a leading cause of disability, could make all the difference.
Plus, later on in this bulletin, make sure you stay with us to watch that interview. But first things first, on this live broadcast, our top stories.
All persons coming into the country must be in possession of a negative COVID-19 PCR certificate acquired no more than 96 hours prior to arrival into the country.
Access controlled. Foreigners entering Kenya to produce COVID-19 negative status certificate as curfew extended by a further 60 days.
If ever the court thought about context and about what the Constitution making was all about, it was to provide a lasting peace and a form of governance that would create a truly democratic and just society.
The Battle of Titans commences at the Appellate Court as petitioners are challenging High Court ruling on BBI bill poke holes.
All of us have an interest in paying attention to any destruction, and of course conservation, protection of the environment is a universal undertaking.
Plus, calling for collaborative approach. Environment Cabinet Secretary Kereako Tobiko urges Kenyans to own their environment. Thank you once again for joining us.
Absolutely. Feel free to interact with us on our social media platforms. Also, stream live this broadcast www.kbc.co.ke. Once again, my name is Purity Museo, and Anne Wangeshi is our sign language interpreter tonight.
Let's get to our top story. Passengers traveling into Kenya from foreign countries will now be required to produce a polymerase chain reaction or PCR test indicating their negative status before they are admitted into the country.
And the COVID-19 certificate, according to an order by President Uhuru Kenyatta, should be done 96 hours before traveling to Kenya. This even as the country awaits the arrival of 10 million COVID-19 vaccines from the Johnson & Johnson's company in August to help boost the vaccination drive.
John Jacob Curia opens our coverage tonight with that report.
COVID-19 virus set to pick up this week. President Uhuru Kenyatta has issued new orders meant to cushion the country from the vagaries of the virus. In his executive order number 4, President Kenyatta has ordered that travelers coming into Kenya possess a polymerase chain reaction PCR certificate before being admitted into the country. The test to ascertain one's negative status must be done 96 hours prior to coming to Kenya.
Acquired no more than 96 hours prior to arrival into the country, with a PCR certificate also having been validated by the trusted travel platform for those traveling by air.
And with the government targeting to vaccinate 10 million adult population by Christmas this year, President Kenyatta announced that 10 million jabs from the Johnson & Johnson's company would land in the country in August to boost the vaccination bid.
Using these vaccines and others in the pipeline, this is how we will vaccinate over 10 million Kenyans by Christmas of 2021 and 26 million Kenyans by the end of 2022.
The president calling on religious leaders and other partners to educate Kenyans on the need to be vaccinated against the deadly virus.
Although vaccination is free of charge and no one will be forced to get it, some education about it is critical. And I say so because by mid-2022, we have potential to reach herd immunity in which the danger of one infected Kenyan will not affect a community of people unchecked.
As part of government's long-term strategy, President Kenyatta has ordered the National Emergency Response Committee to begin the modalities of establishing a National Human Vaccine Center to develop and administer vaccines beyond the COVID-19 vaccines.
The national quest to produce human vaccines here in Kenya will elevate our nation as a producer for both human and veterinary vaccines that we currently supply to Eastern Africa all the way to Morocco in North Africa.
In the meantime, President Uhuru Kenyatta has extended curfew hours from 10 p.m. to 4 a.m. for another 60 days, save for the 13 counties from the Lake region, who will continue being under the 7 p.m. to 4 a.m. curfew. The other protocols announced earlier in the Executive Order number 3 remain in place. John Jacob Curia, Prime Edition.
From that update on Kenyan COVID response, let's take you to the corridors of justice, where petitioners at the Court of Appeal against the High Court ruling nullifying the Building Bridges Initiative bill have centered on the basic structure doctrine to discredit the ruling. The petitioners that included the Attorney General.
The BBI Secretariat and Raila Odinga held the view that the 2010 Constitution was not entrenched on eternity clauses that cannot be amended.
The appeal against the High Court ruling nullifying the Building Bridges Initiative bill has kicked off at the Court of Appeal, with the petitioners seeking to disapprove that the 2010 Kenya Constitution was built on basic structure doctrine and entrenched on eternity clauses which cannot be amended under the BBI route. The AG is also against the ruling by the High Court stripping the President of his immunity in the execution of his mandate and barring him from initiating a popular initiative.
It is simply a call to this Honorable Court for the restoration of the people's sovereign will. Through our appeal, my lords, my lords, we invite this Honorable Court to affirm the Constitution as enacted by the people of this great republic.
Of concern to the AG was how the High Court could determine which provisions of the Constitution of Kenya 2010 are amendable.
1. The learned judges ignored decisions to the effect
that Chapter 16 provides adequate means for amending the Constitution.
The purpose of referendum is not to legislate. In the result, if the bill is not approved, then that is the end of the matter. Even if some parts are approved and others are not, the bill fails.
My Lord, it is a principle of interpretation of the Constitution that the court cannot declare a provision of the Constitution to be unconstitutional.
Raila Odinga questioning the High Court understanding of public participation and how it should be structured.
And if ever the court thought about context and about what the Constitution making was all about, it was to provide a lasting peace and a form of governance that would create a truly democratic and just society.
The petitioners also questioned the viability of a single multiple referendum questions, issues of voter registration, quorum of the Independent Electoral and Boundaries Commission, and the adequacy of legal infrastructure to support signatures.
Because there is only one law that man cannot change, and that would be the law of God. It's the only one that you must obey.
Well, according to the government Solicitor General Kennedy Ogeto, there have been up to 22 attempts to try and amend the 2010 Constitution, and the will of the people should be allowed to prevail. Next to give their submissions are the IEBC and President Uhuru Kenyatta. For Prime Edition, I'm Serafina Robbie.
And the World Bank has approved some 14 billion Kenya shillings additional financing to Kenya for the purchase of COVID-19 vaccines. The World Bank Board of Executive Directors, in approving the funding, said the additional financing will enable Kenya procure more vaccines via the African Vaccine Acquisition Task Team AVATT initiative and the COVID-19 Vaccines Global Access COVAX facility.
To date, a total of 1,334,749 people have been vaccinated against the COVID-19 pandemic in the country. The 14 billion shillings approved by the World Bank is expected to bolster Kenya's push to have more Kenyans vaccinated against COVID-19 within the set timelines. The country's total coronavirus cases rose to 183,603 on Tuesday, following the confirmation of 719 more positive cases. The Ministry of Health says 9 more deaths were recorded on Tuesday, taking the cumulative number of COVID-19 related deaths to 3,621. 800 patients have recovered from the disease both from hospital and home care. Another 1,088 patients are still admitted to hospital. Out of whom 112 are in the intensive care unit. A total of 6,465 patients are being monitored at home under the home care isolation program. Yusuf Far reporting for the Prime Edition.
Let's stay with budgetary allocation on COVID. The National Assembly has allowed the Treasury to spend 22.6 billion shillings in the next 24 hours to pay pending bills and buy COVID-19 vaccine. Members of Parliament, while approving the supplementary appropriations bill, hit out at the Treasury for failing to act on the state agencies that failed to clear pending bills. 7.3 billion shillings of the supplementary budget will go to the purchase of COVID-19 vaccines.
As the financial year 2020-2021 comes to a close, Parliament has passed the second supplementary budget into law, allowing the executive to spend 22.8 billion shillings by Friday. According to Budget and Appropriations Committee Chairperson Kanini Kega, 7.3 billion shillings will be used to purchase COVID-19 vaccines.
In this supplementary, we have 7.6 billion shillings that will go towards purchasing of the COVID-19 vaccines. And Honorable Speaker, as we were seated here, I have also seen from 411 that the World Bank has also approved another 14 billion.
MPs accused Treasury of abetting financial mischief in government departments by forwarding to Parliament 3 budgets in 1 year.
The CS should not entertain Kenyans with rhetorics. If you are talking about payment of pending bills and putting timelines, it should be backed by action through budgetary provision.
The first charge, Honorable Speaker, should always be pending bills. But it is not happening, Honorable Speaker. You see new projects being done, but nothing being done on the pending bills. And we will continue pushing it, Honorable Speaker.
The lawmakers want Treasury to enforce the Public Finance Management Act by compelling government agencies to clear pending bills before initiating new projects. Kevin Washira, Prime Edition.
And now to the Environmental Conservation Affairs. Environment Cabinet Secretary Keriako Tobiko has called for collaborative efforts in the restoration of the country's ecosystem. Tobiko says the destruction of the environment is a universal problem and everyone must take individual responsibility and protect their environment. Tobiko was speaking during a visit of Karura by the United Nations. General Assembly President Volkan Bozkır, who on his part called for the change of a strategy in addressing the 21st century environmental problems.
The government is banking on the goodwill of Kenyans in ensuring the sustainability of the environment. Cabinet Secretary Keriako Tobiko says Kenyans must do more in bolstering ongoing efforts to protect the environment.
Environment does not respect territorial boundaries. Destruction of environment in any part of the world affects everyone. So all of us have an interest in paying attention to any destruction, and of course conservation, protection of the environment is a universal undertaking.
Visiting President of the 75th session of the United Nations General Assembly, Volkan Bozkır, says urbanization is increasingly having an impact on environmental conservation.
We must start thinking all these concepts together. And I think on top of it is environment and urbanization. Because if we solve these two things, others will follow. We must fight, as the Secretary General said, the problems of the 21st century with tools of 21st century.
Volkan Bozkır says there is need to adopt best environmental practices to help fight climate change. Kenya is looking to attain a 10% forest cover by the year 2022. For Prime Edition, I'm Safin Acheng Ouma.
Okay. Well, we're going to take a short break. Remember, we had promised you that we were having somebody to talk to us about the club foot condition. How much do we know about it?
How much do we know about it, and actually how much is being done
exactly
to protect and help children born with club foot? It's the leading cause of disability among children.
Even the stigma around it. I mean, I'm looking forward to hearing.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Good.
Interact with us at KBC Channel 1 News. The hashtag to use right now, tonight, is Prime Edition. Let's take that break.
Stay with us.
Watu wangu wa mjei, strong. Unajua kurejista na NCA, National Construction Authority, inamaanisha nini?
Inamaanisha umetambulika kama fundi wa mijengo hodari kulingana na ujuzi wako.
Inamaanisha umesimamiwa kiafya, kikazi, kimalipo na kisheria kote Kenya.
Inamaanisha pia umeaminika. Wewe sio fundi bandia, na kwa hivyo utaitiwa kazi mingi.
Be sure, Jenga Smart, to ensure the safe construction of all residential, commercial structures, roads and other works. The National Construction Authority is directing all contractors to be registered with and workers accredited by the authority to ensure compliance with the construction regulations of Kenya. Reach our customer care team on 0709 126 173, 0709 126 102 and 0709 126 172. National Construction Authority, building a strong Kenya.
Bwana Motiso, pikipiki yako ndio hii. Uko shoni yangu. Hii pikipiki ni, unakumbuka uniekelea the lowest unique bid yako ilikuwa ngapi? 18 shillings. Na unajua kuendesha hii gari? Kidogo. Haya, kitoko yako shika helmet, kifungu yako, chomoka na mali yako.
Kujiunga na QuickBid ni rahisi. Enda kwenye M-Pesa, bonyeza paybill kisha weka business number 4032353. Kwenye account weka kodi ya bidhaa unayotaka na bid yako ya chini zaidi. Kwa mfano TV 16. Kisha weka shilingi 20 tu kama idadi yako. Weka bid yako pia kwenye www.quickbid.co.ke. Kumbuka, bid ya chini zaidi ya kipekee ndio hununua. QuickBid, bidhaa bora kwa bei ya chini.
Banki imeconfirm pesa zimeingia. Congratulations Sam, gari ni lako sasa.
Shukran. Oi boss, suniache insurance yako nitumie kabla nijipange.
Insurance ya gari haiwezi kuwa transferred kwa mtu mwingine.
Sina habari na nikuulize, hii comprehensive insurance inakava vitu gani?
Comprehensive Motor Insurance inakava gari linapoharibika wakati wa ajali pamoja na uharibifu wa mali ya mtu mwingine, gari likiibiwa au likichomeka. Pia inakava passenger wa gari lako na passenger wa lile gari lingine kunapotokea ajali.
Kwani umenisahau mimi kama driver?
Dereva hakui covered na comprehensive insurance, ila anajitafutia personal accident cover.
Umenichanua. Rose, hata nishughulikie hiyo insurance, nitakujia gari kesho.
Okay, sawa.
Yeah.
Ujumbe huu umeletwa kwako na IRA. IRA, bima bora kwa taifa.
Kuna vitu zingine sio bazu true, kama kuchokoza dem sio bazu true, kuwadhulumu kuwapiga sio bazu true, sio poa ni hatia na kukosa utu. Tushikane watu wote tuwe bazu true, kuwalinda wanawake tuwe bazu true, wanaume form moja ni bazu true.
It's not a boys club if you aren't all winning. Be better and demand the same of those around you. Kuwa bazu true. Stop gender-based violence.
To get Skizatune Hail Mary, dial *811 *963 hash.
Hail Mary, full of grace, the Lord is with thee. Blessed art thou among women, and blessed is the fruit of thy womb, Jesus. Holy Mary, Mother of God, pray for us sinners, now and at the hour of our death. Amen.
To get Hail Mary, dial *811 *963 hash *811 *963 hash.
You're watching Your Health Tonight, and according to the World Health Organization, 1 in every 800 children are born with clubfoot. And when corrected, of course, a child can lead a normal life. But if that is not done by the time this child is 5 years of age, then clubfoot can cause disability. To help us with this discussion is Isaac Mutua. Thank you so much for joining us tonight, and I must appreciate that you're really doing a great job giving children another opportunity, you know, to a second chance of their lives. Maybe can you tell us, when did you begin this correction activities helping children born with clubfoot, because it's not a common, you know, defect? Maybe you can tell us, is it one of you family members who was born with clubfoot? Is it situation that you saw the country is not dealing with this situation so well? What really drives you to helping kids out here born with a clubfoot?
I work with Clubfoot Care for Kenya, an organization that was founded 2005 by a doctor in one of our hospitals called Cure International Hospital. He's an orthopedic surgeon. So before this organization began, children were born with clubfoot and brought to the hospitals, and they underwent surgeries. So when he was studying out in Uganda, he found out that there is a method that they can be corrected without surgery, non-surgical method of correcting clubfoot. And he found out this method would help a lot of children avoid surgeries and be corrected without surgery, and the foot gets full correction.
So we lacked expertise as a country and knowledge.
Yes, so when he came back 2005, he founded Clubfoot Care for Kenya with the help of his hospital, and then the organization started. It has grown to be a full non-government organization today, and we have corrected over 13,500 children so far without surgery.
Yeah.
And that is a real blessing to the country. One correction is big enough for a family
And how
to
big
feel
of
the
a
change.
problem is this in Kenya? How many children are born with clubfoot in the country?
For every 806 children born, one is born with clubfoot. For a study that is going on in the Ministry of Health, they are finding out that it is the leading birth defect. Conditions that you see when a child is born, that is the leading one. And many of them, if they don't find the right place to be corrected, end up becoming disabled people. So, and it is a condition that can be corrected quite fast, and then the child can live a normal life, grow healthy, and without even noticing any difference in their feet.
And most birth defects don't have known causes. Maybe let's talk about
Even this one.
Even this one.
Even this one, there is no definite cause, but it has some hereditary traits. So it is very easy for one to see that there was someone in the family who had clubfoot, but not necessarily. It
So
could
let's
be
talk
like
about-
1 out of 30%.
Yes.
Mm.
So what is clubfoot? You know.
Clubfoot is the term clubfoot. That condition is called congenital talipes equinovarus. That is CTEV. That's the very scientific name. But clubfoot is a deformity at the foot. Let me demonstrate this.
Yes.
If this is a rubber model, it's not a foot of a child. Clubfoot is a condition whereby a deformity at the foot, whereby the foot has turned downward and inward, and is present at birth. You can visibly see. Some may not be very severe, others may be very, very severe. Some conditions in clubfoot, the foot might be severely deformed. And this condition can be corrected through non-surgically through a method called Ponseti, which is the one that we use. We train clinicians and they correct children through that method.
And we'll tell us
non-surgically.
more about
Thank you.
Ponseti later on. But Isaac, allow me to ask you, there's no known cause for clubfoot.
Yes.
But are there early signs? Is there, because for some birth defects, a woman can go for scanning when she's pregnant, and there's a prediction that your child may have this kind of a birth defect. Is it the same case with clubfoot, or it's always a surprise when a child is born and the mother gets to know that they have a problem?
Thank you for that question.
Yeah.
True. It can be seen during scans, during pregnancy, can be seen a few weeks after conception, but it cannot be corrected before the child is born.
Yes.
In this part of the world, where people may not want to follow correction very early, you might find when a child is born, they start growing without correction. But in like the Western world, a child is corrected quite fast. The mother is prepared, goes through counseling long before delivery, so that soon after delivery, they go for correction. Here, we encourage that anybody who gets to see, then they start treatment immediately. And it is possible to correct a newborn. They can start being corrected a day or two after birth, and that makes the correction to be faster because the bones are still very soft. Yeah, so it can be corrected soon after birth.
Soon after birth. Now, you mentioned that the child has to be born for the correction to be done.
Yes.
But allow me to ask you again,
Yeah.
is there at some point maybe women who are not, maybe if, for example, they're giving birth and not in health facilities, they may not be able to tell that their child has a problem because they're not walking? Do we have such cases? And or what are some of the symptoms of clubfoot do we have? Physical ones.
It is a physical deformity at the foot.
Yes.
The way the foot is usually straight, when a child is born, the feet will be facing each other and downward. Sometimes we'll have turned completely. If it's very severe, we call that atypical clubfoot, which takes longer to correct. So it's quite visible. When it's very severe, then every nurse will see that, every midwife will see that. But sometimes when it's not very severe, it might escape the eyes of medical practitioners. And then the parent will finally notice when they start standing the child, they can see the foot looks like maybe sometimes it's like tiptoeing, or the foot is trying to tilt, so they might notice at that point. At that point, they should take them to clinics.
Yeah.
We have clinics in the country that do that.
Let's talk about the treatment, which
Yes.
is the most important, because
Yes.
we cannot prevent having a child with club foot, but we
Yes.
can help them. You said that if they are corrected before they are over 5 years, then
Yes.
they can lead a normal life. Maybe you can
Yeah.
tell us more about this.
Yeah. We encourage a child to be brought to the clinic just after birth.
Yeah.
And it is better, the earlier the better, when the bones are still soft. We have clinics. Club Foot Care for Kenya has 23 clinics in the country, which are spread in our public hospitals, and 2 of them in private hospitals, Christian hospitals. When a child comes there, they start the correction process. The first phase is cast. They are being casted. The method that is used is called Ponseti. Ponseti method of correction has 2 major phases. The first one is casting, and in casting they are manipulated and then casted to the right position that is heading towards correction. Then the foot is taken back to normal within 4 to 6, 8 weeks. The foot is taken back to normal, and then the hind foot is corrected through a minor surgery we call tenotomy. After that tenotomy, the foot turns to be a normal foot. Then when it is normal, this child is very small and the feet are still soft, the bones are still soft.
So it's easier for them to get back
to
to
get
the
back.
original positions.
If it's left uncasted, the foot can come back. So we encourage them now to go to the next major stage, which is bracing. So they are put on this special shoe, which puts the foot on a position we call dorsiflexion, in the normal way the foot should be. So they are put on this brace until age 5. The first 3 months, day and night, for 23 hours, just 1 hour for refreshing the foot and manipulating, and then after that, all nights for until age 5. At that point, the bone is firm enough to stay in that position.
Absolutely.
And this child grows normal. They will not even notice they had a problem, and it's only the parents who can remember the pain
and
they went
this will
through.
not be achieved, for example, if now the child stays with the condition past the 5 years of age. Yes,
It can be achieved.
Yeah.
It will be harder because the foot is a bit firm, and mostly it will be through operation, and finances might hinder that. It will need a lot of time for a child to be grounded until they are corrected, because it's through surgery. It could be 1 foot, it could be both feet. If it's both feet, then the child gets grounded for a long time during that correction.
and let's talk about how much is being done to help children in the country, because you said from the recent data, it's a leading cause of disability. You
Yes.
said
the
birth, it's the leading birth defect.
It's the leading birth defect
in the country. So
Yeah.
how much is being done to help children, with this born with club foot, or where would you say the gap is as far as addressing these challenges?
when it's the leading cause of birth defect? And sad enough, our organization is helping in correcting children, but we are only reaching less than 50% of the children born. Every year in Kenya, 1,930 children are born with clubfoot. We are reaching about 1,000. That's close to 50%. So the gap is in awareness. When we have people with these children, and they bring the children to our clinics at age 3, 4, you find out that they didn't know where they can go for correction. Others go for correction in places where maybe people don't know what to do. We have seen that people are being corrected, and sometimes they don't achieve the correction. So they may have tried. It doesn't mean that they didn't, but they didn't know where to go for the right correction. Anywhere where there's a clinic for Club Food Care for Kenya, CCK, and they're correcting through Ponseti method, that is the right place and the child will be fully corrected. There are private places and other places that correct too, but not many that know how to correct the condition. Not many medical practitioners know where to refer. That's also a challenge. So awareness is a major hindrance to correcting children.
And do we have enough facilities in the country to help the children? Because you're saying you can only reach 50%.
We're in 23 facilities in 16 counties. Imagine how the shortage is big.
Yeah.
So we are praying, trusting that God will help us to expand and grow into, to have a clinic at least in every county.
And for the country, maybe do we need to have the Minister of Health, the government pick up this challenge and help children, or what would you say your call is as we wind up?
We would encourage that the government would pick up the training, so that in every training institution where rehabilitation departments are being trained, they would be trained right from the training, so that when they go out, they can correct these children. Again, the government can support in raising awareness so that people can know where the referral points are. The government can support even facilities to have the training equipment, to have people trained, to have the supplies availed, because we supply we give the supplies. We don't charge for the treatment. And we only encourage parents to follow through. We have counselors who support the parents when they come, so that they can be encouraged through the situations they go through after getting these children with this deformity. So the government can help in increasing awareness, providing medical practitioners training that would facilitate that, and providing the materials that are needed in every county at least.
Yeah,
that
I
would be
presume
very
that
helpful.
even the awareness would address the challenge with stigma for parents who give birth to children with club food.
Yes, a lot of awareness so that people can accept and overcome the traditions and the cultures and the perceptions that follow any disability, birth in the family. That could help very much. And again, not just the government, every other organization like churches, all these other non-government organizations that work with community, anyone, any social worker, anybody involved with the community could really help getting these children out, supporting the families, increasing awareness so that people can know they support. This is not, it's not fatal, it's not the end. It is something that can be corrected and people live a normal life. That is very encouraging.
Thank you.
And for us, we are making sure that where children, where we can access children, we support them. Where parents can be found, we follow them and bring them to the clinic and help them follow through the treatment.
Thank you so much. We have to wind up. But thank you so much for helping us with this conversation, making awareness about club food, and bringing the good news that actually it can be corrected. It's not a permanent disability or condition. Thank you, Isaac Mutua, for making time for us.
Thank you very much.
We appreciate it. And thank you for watching. We're taking another commercial break. When we return, Business News is up next with Caroline Njenga. Stay with us.
The future of money is simple, like unlocking possibilities with a smile. And having the world in the palm of your hand. It's the ability to touch many lives at the same time and turn your dreams into reality. It's forgetting and still remembering. Simple is having everything that you love in one place. From the ticket to your next meal, to your ticket to the next holiday. It's an easy way to ask for a boost when you're low. And keeping track of everything on the go. The future of money is simple, and it's here. Download the new M-Pesa app today.
like never before. Ushindi with OxyBright does so much more. Removes stains easily and cleans it right. Brightens with the magic of OxyBright. It's a brighter life with Ushindi.
If you have been in contact with someone who is suspected or has tested positive for COVID-19, self-quarantine for 14 days and call 7194 for help. Self-quarantine restricts movement and the spread of the disease and protects your family, friends, and community from being infected. During self-quarantine, you are advised to stay in a separate room, disinfect surfaces and clothing with appropriate disinfectant, avoid sharing household items, including utensils, towels, and beddings, do not receive visitors, wear an appropriate face mask if you must be around other people. COVID-19 is preventable. Protect yourself, family, and the community. This message has been brought to you by the Government of Kenya and its partners.
Katika juhudi za kuhimiza mabadiliko ya tabia, Baraza la Kitaifa la Kudhibiti Ugonjwa wa Ukimwi likishirikiana na shirika la utangazaji la Kenya KBC litafanya vikao mubashara na wataalamu mbalimbali kutoka kaunti za Bomet na Meru siku ya Jumanne na Makueni siku ya Jumatano kuangazia masuala muhimu kwenye vita dhidi ya janga la ukimwi katika jamii.
Malaria ni ugonjwa hatari sana unaoua watu wengi hapa Kenya. Japo kuko na corona, hatari ya malaria bado iko. Mtoto huyu alikuwa na joto jingi, kutetemeka, kuumwa na viungo na uchovu. Alikimbizwa hospitali ya umma ambako sheria za COVID-19 huzingatiwa na ni salama kwa shughuli ya upimaji. Vipimo vilionyesha kuwa ana malaria na papo hapo daktari akampa dawa za malaria na kumshauri azimalize, na ili kujikinga wawe wakilala ndani ya neti iliyotibiwa. Malaria husambazwa na mbu. Walio hatarini ni watoto wa chini ya miaka 5 na akina mama wajawazito. Kupimwa na kutibiwa ni bure katika hospitali zote za umma. Usisahau adui malaria. Zero malaria huanza na mimi. Chukua jukumu leo. Komesha malaria. Ujumbe huu umeletwa kwenu na Wizara ya Afya.
Dear customer, you can now access Kenya Power services fast and easy directly from your mobile phone by dialing *977#. If you are a postpaid customer, press 2 after dialing *977# and you will be able to pay for your bill, access your bill, and receive bill alerts. You can also do self-reading of your meter. Simply go to the self-reading menu, add your account number, input the current meter reading, then send. You will receive your power bill within 24 hours. Your meter number is automatically saved for future references. Kenya Power. Powering people for better lives.
Welcome back. We now take a look at what's making headlines in the world of business. My name is Caroline Jenga. Now, more than 250,000 workers have lost their jobs in the entertainment industry. According to Bar Owners Association, the worst affected in the bars and liquor store because of the strict operating hours, where more than 20,000 bars have shut their businesses. Now, Kiracho Brewery's Chief Executive Tabitha Karanje is urging the government to fully reopen bars and liquor stores to avoid further job losses.
The entertainment industry is one of the hardest hit sectors by the COVID-19 pandemic, leading to millions of job losses. More than 250,000 workers employed in bars and liquor stores have lost their jobs. Speaking during the launch of the brand X 8.8 double strength beer, Keresho Brewery's Chief Executive Tabitha Karanja said the national and county governments should waive taxes and licenses for the struggling sector to enable the sector to survive the pandemic.
So what we need, we as the business people, is on how we can get that enabling environment to do business in this country. That's all that we ask for. The tax collector to collect their money in a friendly way, but we are in that now, alternative dispute resolution.
Bar Owners Association says over 20,000 bars have closed business, translating to 250,000 jobs lost during the pandemic period.
Requesting all the governors to give us a waiver of 60% of the fees, because we are only operating for 2 hours and normally operate for 8 hours. But we still have other counties that are still they're still engaging our members. So we are calling on the Council of Governors, the way we've been engaging, and all the others to ensure that we come together and ensure that we save this industry from collapsing.
Premium Brand X is the first Kenyan manufactured strong beer that falls under strong beers in the world. Keroshe Breweries is the second largest beer maker in Kenya with an installed capacity of 40,000 bottles per hour. The government has been urged to continue reviewing the curfew hours in order to help avert the crisis that has hit the bar industry. Reporting for Business News from Naivasha, I'm Ruth Wamboi.
Now, majority of micro, small and medium enterprises are operating in the ICT sector and agriculture sectors. A study by the Kenya Bankers Association also ranks manufacturing and construction among the dominant sectors for the enterprise, employing an estimated 15 million opportunities. Now, KBA CEO Habil Olaka, however, says despite their immense economic contribution to this sector, faces serious challenges in accessing finance. Although micro, small and medium enterprises play an instrumental role in the economy, creating employment and supporting livelihoods, they continue to face substantial challenges exacerbated by COVID-19. Kenya Bankers Association Chief Habil Olaka says appropriate interventions to enhance credit to SMEs needed to be embraced.
Any conversation on economic recovery in a sustainable way cannot avoid the issue of addressing the strengthening of the MSME sector.
According to 2021 micro, small and medium enterprises report, access to capital remain limited, with only 22% of the 279 enterprises reviewed reporting having applied for startup loans. Out of this, only 9% was from banks, 64% from own savings, and non-loan support from family and friends at 12%.
This is a reflection of the fact that there was some level of commitment for these enterprises to actually grow.
Analysis of record keeping among enterprises revealed that about 7 in every 10 enterprises keep financial records, with about 2/3 of them maintaining their records electronically. Most of the businesses surveyed are micro, with 85 and 87% having less than 10 full-time and part-time employees respectively. Now we focus on trade matters, where Kenya is eyeing the United Arab Emirates investors to tap into various investment opportunities in the country. Speaking during a virtual Kenya UAE Business Forum, Industrialization Principal Secretary Peter Kaberia has urged investors to take advantage of the export processing and special economic zones in Lamu, Mombasa, Naivasha and Nairobi to expand their operations in Africa. Take a look at that story.
In 2020, the value of Kenya's imports from the UAE was approximately 18 billion shillings, while the Kenyan exports to the UAE was valued at 4.2 billion shillings. Kenya has launched various promotional activities.
Kenya has enormous opportunities for investment as outlined under the Big Four agenda, namely in agriculture, manufacturing, affordable housing, and universal health care for all, and also under the Kenya Vision 2030.
The Kenyan Investment Authority and our office in Nairobi to boost the export from Kenya to Dubai, having listened to the opportunities and having listened and seen the industrials that are opening up in your country.
The government is now banking on public-private partnership models with investors, especially infrastructure projects such as the ongoing Nairobi Expressway and the Nairobi-Nakuru Mau Summit Expressways.
We've built a
a purpose-made special economic zone to attract people who can come and build textile mills so that we can produce fabrics here. There's plenty of fiber in our country and in the neighboring countries.
Alan Auko, Channel 1 Business.
Kenya's food security is likely to deteriorate further, with key food basket counties of Uasin Gishu and Nakuru County facing poor production. The counties are facing prolonged dry spell, with maize and beans production expected to drop by more than 40% this year. The situation has been aggravated by the resurgence of the fall army worm.
The months of April, May and June are usually wet in Kenya, with farmers in many parts of the country tending to their farms. However, the opposite has been different. The rains have delayed, and an unusually hot season has kicked in, dampening the harvesting prospects. The reasons being given are varying from climate change and changing weather patterns.
Our expectation is not going to be very good. We expect a reduction in food production, reduction in income to our farmers, because maize is not only grown for food, it is also grown for income generation.
The signs have been there since last year, when the country witnessed depressed rainfall and aggressive locusts devastated many farmlands, decimating vegetation. In Nakuru County, farmers are experiencing a reduction of maize and beans due to low rainfall in the region. Agriculture Chief Officer Kibet Miners said that they had anticipated a production of 2 million bags, but that might change drastically to slightly 1 million bags following the poor weather.
So right now we are focusing, or we have somehow adjusted our figures to an expectation of 1 million bags from 1.9.
According to Kibet, the resurgence of fall army worms and the impact of COVID-19 that disrupted the transport of farming input has dampened production prospects.
Well, and that is how we wrap up business and news for tonight, but don't go too far. Richard Munga is coming up next with the sports.
reason we are saying the last mile is because we have one area that we have not yet attained what we are looking for, and that's elimination of mother-to-child transmission. In their countries that have eliminated mothers passing on HIV to their children, in Kenya we haven't. That is actually the foundation or the bedrock of the First Lady's initiative, and so the First Lady cannot do it alone. Ministry of Health cannot do it alone. And so what we are doing as NAC is working with the counties so that we can all, so that if a mother, before she even gets pregnant, can she know her status? Because if you know your status, that's the first way of making sure that you prevent passing on the virus to the children.
Siku moja mosquito ilipata ujauzito ikazaa mtoto. Sasa hiyo mama ya mosquito ikatuma mtoto mosquito iende ikapige doria iwaje kukaa kwa nyumba. Sasa hii mtoto mosquito ikaenda ikarudi. Hii mtoto mosquito ikaambia mama yake, mama, mimi nimeenda kila mahali watu wanapigia mimi makofi, watu wamefurahiana na mimi sana. Mama, hii mosquito ikaambia mtoto yake, hao wapigi wewe makofi eti wanafurahia wewe. Hiyo walikuwa wanataka kuua wewe.
Ili kupata skiza tune hiyo ya mosquito, bonyeza *811 *967 hash. Bonyeza *811 *967 hash.
This week on the season premiere of Africa's hottest new show, Rura, we take you on a safari in Kenya's capital, Nairobi. Get your adrenaline pumping and revving to go, and if that's not enough, we take you on a tour of what could possibly be the most photographed home in Africa. It's simply inspiring. That's all coming right up on Surura. Find your adventure, only on KBC.
Oh, good evening. Once again, I'm Richard Munga with the daily sports updates. Now, Gor Mahia head coach Carlos Vaz Pinto has been named the May FKF Premier League Coach of the Month. Meanwhile, with 50 days to go, the World Athletics Under-20 Championships remain on track for a successful staging in Nairobi in August, following a 4-day visit this month from a World Athletics expert team to monitor the progress of the local organizing committee.
Defending champions to 100% record in the month, winning all the 4 matches played in May. The defending champions began the month with a hard-fought 1-0 win over league returnees Nairobi City Stars at the Utalii grounds before humbling Sofapaka 2-1 at their own backyard. The record Kenyan champions followed the Batoto Bamungo victory with a narrow 1-0 victory over Vihiga United in their third match of the month played at the Mumia Sports Complex before replicating the similar scoreline in the last encounter against Wazito. Pinto beat KCB Tacticans Zedekia Ziko Otieno to the award with AFC Leopards coach Public Ausems closing the top 3 brackets.
When the coach is the coach of the month is because all people around him work very well, and because of that I feel good. Of course, it's good for me, but it's good for whole team because they deserve this.
Meanwhile, with 50 days to go, the World Athletics Under-20 champions remain on track for a successful staging in Nairobi in August following a 4-day visit in the month from a World Athletics expert team to monitor the progress of the local organizing committee. The World Under-20 champions, initially scheduled for 2020, were postponed until 17th to 22nd of August this year after the COVID-19 outbreak. The Nairobi LOC has made a strong progress in its preparation, despite difficult local conditions with the city under lockdown measures for much of the past 12 to 18 months. Elsewhere, Dandora residents have appealed to the government to help them complete their football stadium, which has stalled in the last 3 years. The community claims they bought equipments which are now getting spoiled, and the contractor has shown no actions to complete the stadium.
Everything started well. The county was there, the contractor was around, until right now when the stadium was around 85% complete is when we realized that there was a problem between the BQ and what is being offered. The BQ was suggesting the stadium to be constructed using concrete, and as you can see, the stadium has been constructed using steel.
Lastly, Safari Rally legend Patrick Njiru says hosting the WRC Safari Rally has proved Kenya has the capability to host international events. Njiru urged the Kenyan government and the Ministry of Sports to start rally clubs in the country.
Hivi sasa vile tumeambiwa mpaka 2026 hii safari itakuwa iko, ni kwamba wale wanaotaka kuja sasa, tutaona timu zingine kama wale manufacturers sasa wa Subaru. Mwaka huu Subaru hawakuja manufacturers. Tutaona driver wa Daihatsu, tutaona wale driver wa Nissan. Hiyo manufacturers wote, manake wale manufacturers ndio wanakuja kuuza magari hapa nchini.
Daniel Mwendwa for Channel 1 Sports.
Meanwhile, the Kenya beach volleyball teams arrived back home Tuesday morning after an outstanding performance at the Africa Continental Cup CAM Olympic qualifiers in Agadir, Morocco. The national women beach volleyball team secured a place in next month's Tokyo Olympic Games after winning the Continental qualifiers.
Women beach volleyball team secured a place in next month's Tokyo Olympic Games after winning the Africa Continental Cup CAM Olympic qualifiers in Agadir, Morocco. The win on Sunday made Kenya's Olympic dream come true after humbling Nigeria teams in a tension-packed final. Kenyan team of Braxidi Sagala and Gaudensia Makoha beat Nigeria's pair of Amachi Uchechuku and Francisca Ikiede, while captain Fosca Kasisi and Yvonne Wavinya easily humbled Albertina Francis and Tochuku Noruga. However, the men's team did not qualify for the Olympic Games after registering mixed results in Morocco.
We had a very good training period in Mombasa, like 1 week and a half, and we went to Morocco with one mission, that is to qualify, because we knew this was the only chance we had, and we fought for it, and actually by the end of the day we got the ticket.
And for men, they also did very well, because even the team that made it to the finals, that is Mozambique, they had beaten them at the preliminary. So in a nutshell, our team did very well.
Timu ya wanaume pia wamefanya
juu chini, kwa sababu kupata namba 6 katika continent ya Afrika sio mchezo. Hivyo na ile competition ambayo ilikuwa kule, nasema ni learning process.
The Kenyan teams were camping in Mombasa ahead of the continental qualifiers.
Globally, French forward Kylian Mbappe missed the crucial kick as Switzerland beat France on penalties in the Euro 2020 last 16 after a classic European Championship game. The match ended 3-3 in regulation as well as extra time.
Benzema scored twice and Paul Pogba put France 3-1 up with a screamer.